with running, everyone's a little different. In general, though, when we run, our heads tend to stabilize a little bit. Now, that's generalization. So, what I mean by this is when we're running, if I walk, I can walk with a kind of this leisurely pace, and you can see how much my head's moving side to side. Now, to be fair, I'm sitting down right now, so it's kind of mimicking it, not actually doing it. But when you run, your body stabilizes and you tend to stay more centered. This is because if you're running at a high speed and you're doing this as you're running, you're throwing yourself off balance. It takes more energy to do something like that. And if ever you look at videos of sprinters, of people who run, especially professionally, they are very focused on their body motion. They don't have extra swinging and kind of just crazy motion for no reason. Now, again, that is a generalization. Some people do run much more wildly, I guess you could say, than others. So, when we're dealing with that as animators, we might have a moment when we do have to animate a character running really wildly and just doing that kind of like and huge motion and their heads swinging side to side. But we can do things to help prevent over animation. And this is basically choosing what we want to accentuate. So, for example, if you have to have a character running, and let's say, first example, we'll keep the head still. As the character's running, we can add a little overlap so that the head's not just locked off and the body's moving, but the head doesn't move at all. But we can focus on which one do we want to accentuate. And this is very important because if you throw in every rotation and translation to the head you can and just exaggerate all of them, what you're going to get is a head that's just doing this as the character is running, which looks very strange and looks like a bobblehead that's just bouncing across the scene, which, hey, if you're on Toy Story and you're animating a bobblehead character, maybe that's what you want. So instead, what we do is we focus on exaggerating one rotation, or maybe 1.5, like one and a little bit of another. So, for example, if I want to create more overlap, I would do this as the character is running. So that forward momentum is, or that up and down momentum is being carried into the head, and we get that weight of the head. This makes characters feel tired because they're losing the ability to sustain their head on their neck. You get that big overlap as if they've been running for hours and they can't keep up. It makes it kind of a more exaggerated, out of breath feeling. You could do a character who's running like this, and this kind of creates a little bit more of a wacky feeling, kind of maybe they're listening to music, or kind of a little bit more bobblehead but without crazy amount of motion. So it just kind of creates this little bit of a musical beat to it. So you're doing the side to side. If you do this tends to create a robotic feeling. This is the one that I tend to animate the least if I can, which is if the head is either sticking with the body, so the character is doing this as they run, this makes it feel like they're wearing a neck brace because their neck is just moving with their head. Or if they exaggerate that, so if I turn this way and then turn my head that way around as well. And a very nice British guy. Oh, thank you so much for the subscription. So if I push my head this way, now it's just the character like it's just this crazy amount of motion for no reason, because the body's already doing this twisting, and if the head's doing that as well, there's just no reason for us to do that. It basically means that it means that your character is not focused on anything. When we're running, we're trying to go to a goal typically, so we're going to be running and focus on where we're going. Or if we're scared, we're going to be looking for danger, and looking for danger doesn't mean whipping our head on every single step. It's running, running, oh no, running. And you can see how my head focuses on different things at different moments, but it's stable as I'm looking because I'm scared, I'm tense, so my head is going to lock into different directions. So the other way you can do it is that you can offset the head and the body so that they do the opposite. So as the body goes this way, the head goes that way, so you get that. So you're offsetting it, going opposites. The head does not do that. That's actually very unnatural for the head. And you can just kind of try this yourself. Just do this in your chair, and then try to offset the head so that you're kind of bring your chin to the shoulder that comes forward. Do it very gently, or else you can actually hurt yourself doing this if you're not careful and you're whipping your head too much. It's just not a natural thing. It feels forced. So as we're it's kind of like the patting your head and like rubbing your stomach is just like, what? Concentrate on, and then you suddenly fall back into this motion. It's very tricky to do because our head does not move opposite of our shoulders like our shoulders do with our hips. If you're walking, typically, most people, not everyone, if you move your right foot forward, your left shoulder goes forward. If you move your left foot forward, your right shoulder goes forward. It's the opposite because we're keeping ourselves balanced. Our head does not do that. If I move my shoulder here, my head is going to try to face forward and then inherit some of the motion from the chest. This is sympathetic motion. I move in one direction here, and the head in a sympathetic motion moves with it while still trying to retain where it was looking originally. So I very rarely over-exaggerate the side to side of the head that way when I'm animating a run. It's usually up and down or side to side. So with that goes for kind of every run. But now let's say we have a run where we have a character who's doing this and they're really going side to side. It's the same thing, except we need to really think of where we want to exaggerate. Because we're doing this big side to side motion, we know that there's going to be a lot of motion this way, which is going to make it hard for the audience to track the face. The character is already swinging around. So if I add in my rotate X, typically that's this motion. Every rig is different, so your forward rotation here. If I'm doing this as well, you can't concentrate on the face at all now. It's just random motion. Kind of looks like I'm at a heavy metal band and just slamming my head in place. It's too much. The audience won't focus on the face. If I'm doing this as well, adding that rotate Z in place, again, hard to focus on the face. Instead, I'm gonna let the side to side be the focus, be the extreme, and then maybe just pepper in a little bit of forward rotation or side to side rotation. It's exaggerating things, but letting one thing be more exaggerated than the next. If everything is exaggerated, it's just a mess of motion and it's not super clear what's happening. So that's kind of to kind of loop back to your question. If the whole body is moving and turning and all of this stuff, you want to try and only let one part of it be extremely exaggerated and then tone everything else down to keep the head a little bit more stable. Now that's not always the case. It really depends on the shot. If you've got a character running and like there's an explosion that blasts them across the room, there's going to be a whole other set of rules and things that go into that. But for most motion, let's say a run cycle, it's making sure that the head stays focused, because as an audience, that's where we're looking. And as a character, this is the head, and specifically the eyes, is how the character is viewing the world. And if they're just doing this all the time, they can't focus on the world. They have to be able to stabilize their head and look at something. So keeping that idea in there will help kind of lead you into more appealing animation without also locking you into just one style of animation, because you can mix and match however you want. As animators, we can make and break these rules and exaggerate in a lot of different ways.